Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. Because sometimes we forget to turn our mics on, or at least unmute ourselves. Hi, welcome. Oh, right. I'm going to plug in the internet. Oh, boy. Then it should at least come through clear, which is going to be good. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our weekly Go F.O.C. Yourself. It's where we go over our final order cutoff stuffs and make sure that you're all aware of all the cool things that are coming out soon. My name is Brandon. You might know me from such places as Variant Edition, where I work. And we are going to be going through all the stuff here. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball today. Got up to some stuff. Was talking with a friend that I hadn't talked to in a couple months. It went a bit long, but it was really good because we needed to check in and do like some mental health checks with each other and kind of go from there. So that was really good. So we will get this kicked off right away. Maybe I can get some music just a little bit in the background. But also get the streaming sharing. Oh, yeah. Final order cutoffs. We're going to start always with Image Comics. Let's see what they're up to. A couple of big things to be aware of. I'm going to see if I click properly. Nope, that's not the one that I wanted. Click. No. It'll only open up in a new tab. Don't like that. Okay. I was hoping that I'd be able to show you fine folks when I'm looking at some stuff. But the fall is coming out here. This one, I've only read a little bit of it. But it is extremely intriguing. Readers who found themselves gripped by the apocalyptic adventure of Robert Kirkman's The Walking Dead and who were moved by the emotion of Cormac McCarthy's The Road will not want to miss Jared Millart's The Fall. After just losing his wife, one father will have to face a world in freefall, shaken to its core by an economic, social, and political and health crisis without precedent. Facing seemingly unreal and very unexpected dangers, he will do whatever it takes to protect his loved ones in a country on the brink of collapse. In this internationally acclaimed series, Jarrett Murald not only tells a story of one family struggling to survive, but also questions the very reasons that brought mankind to the apocalypse. I'm very intrigued to read more of The Fall because that's kind of where I'm at these days, doing a lot of sort of apocalypse diving, partly to kind of steady my own nerves and get things in my own head working proper. Reckoning with how the world tends to deal with life and other things. Ooh, speakeasy background, baby. Maybe if it still goes, unless it just turned off right now. Goodness. We're doing it. We're doing it live is what we're doing. All right, everybody. Another thing that's extremely exciting is Nocterra. That's coming out from Scott Snyder and Tony S. Daniel. This one is been highly anticipated by a lot of folks, specifically because we got some good Scott Snyder doing some creator-owned work again. It's been a while, and his work is always stellar. With just the general superhero stuff, but also, man, Witches is one of my favorites. Severed is one of the creepiest stories that I've ever read. I'm very excited about that. And this one is definitely more of a like far future vein. So we've got Noctera. 10 years after the world is plunged into everlasting night that turns all living creatures into monstrous shades, the only way to survive is to stay close to artificial light. Enter Valentina Val Riggs, a skilled ferryman who transports people and goods along deadly unlit roads with her heavily illuminated 18-wheeler. And it goes through the creative team. It's a very strong creative team. It's going to do pretty well. We do want people to still be aware of it because it's folly to assume that folks know what's coming out, because that's our job. We know because we kind of have to. And if we don't pay attention to that, we can't help you with it. Neil says he's pumped for Nocturnal. He just pre-ordered it for himself. That is awesome, Neil. And we've got Stillwater Volume 1. As you can see with that little click there, it says nobody dies. This has been a really good series that I've enjoyed from Chip Zdarsky and Roman Perez, with Mike Spicer doing the colors. Nobody dies in this town of Stillwater. That is not a promise; it's a threat. It's a community horror series, kind of like, say, Shirley Jackson's The Lottery. Only nobody dies instead of there being a sacrifice in the middle of the town square all the time. It comes down to how people approach, say, strangers and whatnot when you can't pass away. It's a fairly different situation, and the story and characters that are built there are just absolutely outstanding. Alrighty. We've got some continuances. As always, we kind of skip past those continuances and kind of move along, not because we're not interested in them, but because, by issue 10 of Walking in Deluxe or issue 10 of Unearth, you kind of got the feel for it. I know that we haven't been doing these final order cutoffs for that long, so you might not know about them. But it's wild if we try to do every single book each week. It would make me very sleepy. And Fridays are technically my day off, but I like doing this and I like hanging out with all of y'all. And I think it's actually extremely helpful to do. So I love having that happen. Black Ghost is something I'm really excited about. It's I'll turn myself up. It's a new story from Alex Segura and Monica Gallagher with George Cambatis doing the art on the inside. This is a Dynamite creative team. They Alex Segura actually does a lot of really good prose crime novels that are out. Silent City is one of them. And this sort of does that, but marries it with some superhero stuff. He's also Archie Comics' PR guy. Kind of an interesting mix of jobs there, doing sort of like your darker and crime fictions and running Archie Comics PR, which, I mean, with Riverdale isn't that far of a stretch. but he's been doing it for a while. Worked for DC for a while, went back to Archie because it was treating him a lot better. All right. Meet Laura Dominguez, a troubled Creighton cops reporter obsessed with the city's debonair vigilante, the Black Ghost. With the help of a mysterious cyber informant named Lone, Lara's inched closer to uncovering the ghost's identity. But as she searched for the breakthrough story she desperately needs, Lara will have to navigate the corruption of her city, the uncertainties of virtue, and her own personal demons. Will she have the strength to be a part of the solution, or will she become part of the problem? This is extra interesting because Dark Horse, which they have been doing for a bunch of their releases like this is actually one of the Comixology originals, like Afterlift, that came out this week from Chip Zdarsky and Jason Liu, or Youth, which is coming out soon from Calgary boy Kurt Pyers. And oh man, I hate that I'm blanking on his artist's name. I apologize. But that'll pop up when it finally comes in the store. I'm very excited for that. They're doing signed book plates for these. So we will be getting some in first come, first serve, of course. Well, they're doing them for retailers that order enough of them, basically. And of course we're going to, because we like supporting some creator-owned stuff and good stories. So we have some for Afterlift. We'll have a lot for Youth, and we'll have some for Black Ghost. Yeah, very excited. So, Dead Dog's Bite. I have been waiting for this one forever. It was supposed to come out in like April, May of last year, but was put on hold because of I don't know if you've been living through this along with us, but this pandemic that's been happening has been pretty freaking wild, folks. And the more podcasts I listen to, the more I realize that we're in for at least another year of this. Hooray! That's another thing. We're not going to talk about that today. That's not a today thing. But Dead Dog's Bite. Cormac Guffin has gone missing. It's been 3 days and no one has seen hide or hair of her. The police have nothing, and the townsfolk are acting more like a funeral procession than a search party. If Cormac has any hope of being found, it rests on the slouching shoulders of her best friend Jo. Jo will need her wits about her, though, because, like any story worth hearing, nothing is what it seems. From the award-winning cartoonist Tyler Boss from Four Kids Walk Into a Bank. You might know that from the media rights being picked up lately, and the incredible weird crime comic about tiny little babies who are robbing a bank. I say little babies, they're children. From that creator comes the story of a riddle wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in a candy wrapper. And it's also described as Twin Peaks meets Ladybird. Which Ladybird, we definitely need to see, Danica, if you're watching this. And if you're not, I understand, because you're working at the store right now and I'm at home having fun on a stream, talking about stuff without you, which is sad because, I like you. You're good people. That's always fun. I love pressing buttons. What else we got? Ooh. So I'm actually kind of excited. This won't take much description, but the EC Archives Tales from the Crypt. They're finally collecting some old school Tales from the Crypt in a nice affordable fashion instead of like $50 a pop for some hardcovers. It's 20 American, which still is better than 50 American, quite honestly. But you get some of that classic EC Comics horror stuff, Tales from the Crypt, with just outstanding artists working on some real creepy freaking stories. I'm also excited for the second volume of Empowered. Empowered is a very weird series, especially if you can kind of see that cover right there. The writer-artist, Adam Warren, would go to conventions, and a lot of people would be like, hey, can you draw like a mostly naked lady eating bread? Um, eating bread seems like a weird thing to say, but let me tell you about the legend of bread guy. So there's a dude who goes around asking artists to draw busty women in supermarkets, just lightly squeezing loaves of bread. He is apparently legendary in comics commission circles. Is apparently super harmless. Is apparently really into busty ladies gently squeezing loaves of bread in supermarkets. So that's where that weird tidbit came from. Anyways, Adam Warren, as a lot of people get asked in Artist Alley, got asked to draw some weird, sometimes creepy stuff. And came up with this character who he called Empowered, who is powerful as long as her suit is fully intact, but is very easily ripped. And all of these commissions that he would do, oh, this lady tied up, oh, this blah, blah, blah. They would have like a little caption of her being like, really? Which is a baller move when you're an artist being asked to draw like, hey, this lady is all tied up and her clothes are ripped. And you get the commission back and the caption on there is just like, really, dude? Kind of love that. Anyways, he built a series about this character that he had started drawing, which really goes into the idea of, say, being empowered, the idea of a strong female character that exists in such a way that is also weirdly fetishized. Like, oh, well, she's really cool because she does things like dudes do, like, ew. you guys are a little weird about this stuff, but it really kind of takes those tropes, kind of makes fun of a lot of damsel stuff, and really builds interesting poly relationships with the characters. It's just a really fantastic series that is actually very well done, despite what folks might think of, the art behind it. And I say this having having tried to do my due diligence in terms of just like, I think this is what he's trying to say and what he's trying to communicate, and he's making fun of these things, right? Like, but he's still drawing this. Like, is this good? And sampling enough folks to realize that like it won't be to everyone's taste, but it is being received very, very, very well. They're at like 10 volumes. This is the second omnibus volume that collects, I believe, 3 at a time, which is the way to get them these days. I'm also super excited for the big library Ether edition. It does come in smaller chunks. It's a 3-volume story from Matt Kint and David Rubin. Interdimensional explorer Boone Diaz, a brilliant scientist from Earth, enters the magical world of Ether and stumbles onto a great responsibility that takes him through the center of volcanoes, deserts full of living mummies and sphinxes, and a bizarre fairy forest, all leading towards a final climactic battle for the fate of both worlds. This is very interesting because it is this very analytical scientist character who goes to a world of magic and still refuses to believe in magic and tries to use science to do sort of like a gone to the other world, save the other people deal. It's absolutely fantastic that the way that they do this. I'm super excited for a new volume of Finder from Carla Speed McNeil. I'll do this one quickly, mostly because it is really hard to get the first volumes in currently. So it's kind of hard to be like, hey, you really want this stuff. But Finder is a very indigenous minded series that takes place in sort of this post-apocalyptic future, where just the society that's built is just so thoughtful about the way that our society might be deteriorating, might be reinventing itself, the ways that corporations would be taking over the messaging, how we get our messages inside our heads. And Carlos B. McNeil is just gorgeous artist and whatnot. If you can find them, I highly suggest finding volumes of Finder for just like some of the most thoughtful sci-fi that I've ever read in my life. Goblin is going to be a very interesting read as well for all ages. On one fateful night, a sinister human warrior raids the home of a young goblin, Richt, and leaves him orphaned, angry and alone. Richt vows to avenge the death of his parents and seeks a way to destroy the man who did this. He finds aid from the unlikely allies throughout his journey and learns of a secret power hidden in the heart of the first tree. Will Rick survive the trials that await him on his perilous journey to the first tree? And is Rick truly prepared for what is there? Yeah. This is something that I'm not going to get a chance to read before it comes out, I believe, unless that pops up on Idlewise. But hey, the art on the cover looks really good. And I'm excited to kind of pop it in the store, and we will, of course, let you know more about it when the date comes closer. Neil says, I think it's hard for a man to write a strong woman character properly. It's like a white dude making an ethnic book. The best way that I found for folks to approach something like this is something that Kelly Sue DeConnick has said a lot when she and she still is writing a book called Bitch Planet, which has a black character in the main lead, black female character in the main lead. And she said that the most important thing is to always consult and ask and make sure that you're valuing those people's time, but also remember that you're incurring a debt when you are representing a different person, a different culture, that if you can, when you can, you should repay. Sometimes that means when you're talking to the person to learn more so that you can represent yourself or represent someone like them better, that is compensating them for their time. Sometimes in the case of Bitch Planet, it was allowing for backup stories for articles written by different people, paying them for those kinds of things and contributions to open up more stories. And at the end of the day, what she said was just like, she doesn't really agree with people only writing their own experiences because that's how you beget a society of narcissists. And that's very understandable, right? Like if you're only looking inward, if you can only look inward and you're not working to look outward, that doesn't really beget a whole lot. So I like her approach. Everyone's flawed and in their own ways, and but the important thing is to look outwards and build, and that's the way I kind of look at that. Invisible Kingdom Volume 3 is going to be coming out fairly soon. Dark Horse trade paperbacks do solicit a little bit further in advance, so this is for May 12th that this one's going to come out instead of like mid-March. But the Invisible Kingdom series has been absolutely remarkable. The first 2 arcs were done in single issues. This one is being released as a graphic novel because this is the most successful format that they've had. And post-coronavirus kind of changes the numbers on what works and what doesn't work in single issues. But basically what you're getting is G. Willow Wilson, co-creator of Ms. Marvel and a writer of some absolutely brilliant works like Aleph the Unseen. Oh my God, that book is astounding. She's an amazing prose writer, and The Bird King. It's a sci-fi series that is like a little bit of The Expanse, but if it was a lot more focused on sort of religions of future worlds instead of sort of like the geopolitics of future worlds. Super amazing with some brilliant sci-fi psychedelia art from Christian Ward. Just love that series. Simone says, have Bitch Planet on my reading list now. I have to bump it up now that after you described that. Thank you so much. It's, you know what? It might be a good thing that you've waited so long because there's been a huge break in between the first 2 arcs and the the collected edition of short stories that they commissioned from folks. They are still working on it. It is still progressing, but a lot of it too is them making sure that they are representing properly, because it has actually been quite some time since the series started, and the world has changed quite a lot. And Kelly Sue DeConnick and Valentine Delandrio are very, very cognizant of, the worlds that they're creating and doing. There's, for those of you who don't know, there are Minecraft graphic novels for any of you Minecraft fans out there, or folks with kids who are huge Minecraft fans. These have been extremely well accepted by kids. They read the first ones and they just completely devour other ones. This is the second volume of the With or Without You story. And yeah, it's, it's good Minecraft stuff if you're into some Minecraft. The next volume of the Neil Gaiman library is in, where they take graphic novel adaptations of some of the short stories and do comics out of them. Super remarkable. Renegade Rule will be coming out soon, May 26th, apparently. The Manhattan Mist has beaten the odds to land themselves in the national championships for Renegade Rule, one of the hottest virtual reality games in existence. But they're in for competition fiercer than they've ever imagined, and one team member's entire future could be at stake. 4 queer female friends will have to play harder than ever against self-doubt, infighting, romantic distraction, and a slew of other world-class teams if they hope to become champions. From Ignatz nominated writer Ben Kahn. Ignatz is basically like indie comics Oscars. So that's a pedigree. And debut author Rachel Silverstein and artist Sam Beck in celebration of friendship, competition, queer identity, and the insane things we do for the people and things that we love. I do wish that Dark Horse sent more preview PDFs. That said, I haven't really dug through Idlewise lately to see if they've got some of that up for their graphic novels, because they're fairly okay about that, but they take forever to actually approve it. IDW. Do I trust you to have Marvel Action Captain Marvel come back alongside Marvel Action Spider-Man in 1 week? We will see. As you can see from these order codes, this one was solicited for November. This one was solicited for January. They will be coming out in March. And they canceled some orders for series that were also supposed to happen mid last year. I will give them this though. Their Marvel Action series of comics are super great. Like, who doesn't want to see Captain Marvel teaming up with Spider-Gwen? Come on. It also has a story written by Sam Meggs, who used to be in Edmonton for a little chunk of time and briefly had a file at Variant Edition, which is really cool. And the Marvel Action Spider-Man also usually includes Peter Parker, Miles Morales, and Spider-Gwen. This one does look like it's going to be more focused on Peter, but it's got some writing by Sarah Grayley, who you might, young adult readers will know from a lot of her scholastic work, her Minecraft work, and oh man, I'm trying to think of her like weird Grim Reaper series. It's like a love story Grim Reaper series. Kim Reaper, I think. Super cute story about a lady who young lady whose side hustle is being a Grim Reaper. And ends up falling in love with one of her bounties and figuring out how to go from there. TMNT The Last Ronin Director's Cut #1 is coming out soon. Second issue is yet to come out. That's coming out fairly soon, within the month, I believe. And it's been a huge success. This is going to have a lot of behind the scenes stuff in there, and layouts and story designs and more. So that's going to be really cool to look into. Sorry, one second here. I'm gonna. Ugh. Actually, obviously this would help. Much better. Skipping DC from here because that's not at all accurate. Diamond doesn't carry DC stuff in North America. They just do that for Diamond UK and a lot of the European publishers. Amazing Spider-Man 58's got a second print coming out. They don't have a cover for it. I hate that when they put up the final buttons and or the final orders and they don't have a picture. It makes me very sad. I love buttons. Buttons are fun. That's why I had buttons in my head. I was like, I'm going to press that button. Super excited for the new Ms. America Chavez series made in the USA. Goodness. Ms. America Chavez is one of my absolute favorite characters. She's been in Young Avengers. She has had her own series in the past. And she's just so a wonderful, kick-ass lady. America Chavez is incredible. Her origins, her strength, her dimension-shattering star portals. But when the foundation of everything she believes is shaken, America will stand up and face the parts of herself that she's been running from. From writer Kalinda Vasquez from television's Marvel's The Runaways. Love that show. So this is extra exciting. And artist Carlo Gomez, who has done art for Amazing Mary Jane, comes an explosive brand new story all about what made America Chavez who she is and what she'll do to protect the ones she loves. Goodness gracious, I'm so excited for this. Oh, look at that Stephanie Hans cover. I wish I could blow this up for you folks, but when I click through things, it doesn't let me pop them up in this thing. And also a really nice Young Gwen Yoon cover as well. They're going all out with these gorgeous covers. I love it. Here's something that Janica's been excited for, the Jen Bartel Women's History Month covers with the characters done up in the styles of clothes that they were in when they debuted. Very, very cool. The Avengers book itself is continuing on with a Phoenix storyline that they will be wrapping up in the next couple issues here. The Captain America by Dan Jurgens. This was a good chunk of Captain America. Happened for a little over 2 years. It's meat and potatoes, Captain America, and very, very well loved. So for folks who are looking for that, Deadpool's Nerdy 30 coming out. That's including a lot of classic Deadpool creators. I wish I had a list here, but I know that Joe Kelly and Daniel Way are going to be a part of this, which is going to be very cool. And I'm hoping to see some Gail Simone in there, but they've got no information other than we've assembled some of his classic storytellers to tell tales of Wade Wilson's birthdays, past, present, and future. So very excited about that. Actually, let me see if I can kind of quickly go on a side quest here and see if I can pull up some more specific solicitations from Marvel themselves in the secret Diamond website for retailers. It's not a secret website. It's basically the retailer website where we put in all the information. That's how you get your stuff. This is where the music helps. So you can just be like, hey guys, just listen to music for a little bit. And I don't have to vamp so much. And this could all be for naught. I could look this up and there'd be like nothing, which would suck. All right, I do actually have some information, so that's really cool. It's going to be written by Rob Liefeld. He's going to have some art in there as well. Fabian Nicieza, so the co-creators of Deadpool, Scotty Young, Gail Simone is coming back. Kelly Thompson also coming back. Jerry Duggan, Brian Posehn, Daniel Way, and Joe Kelly. That's basically all of Deadpool's greatest hits creators coming back to tell awesome stories with Deadpool. What's not to love, folks? You're going to get some good stuffs if you like you some Deadpool. Very excited for Demon Days X-Men to come out. See if I can actually get you all looking at that properly. This is full art and story by Peach Momoko, who's been big in the Marvel covers, as well as everywhere covers. She's doing full interiors, and she gets to basically tell a story on her own that will trip through the entire Marvel universe, starting with the X-Men, and will come out fairly intermittently as the artwork's done to make sure that it looks amazing. Hopefully they'll do like one of those giant treasury editions afterwards. Those are really cool, and that would be really good for art at this size. A wandering swordswoman with a psychic blade arrives at a village that's been targeted by demons. One demon is black and white with a terrifying red tongue, and another might be the strongest demon there is. In the stunning kickoff story of this prestige quarterly story, you will see a revolutionary reimagining of the Marvel Universe that could only come from Peach Momoko. Ready your katana and enter the mysterious world of demons, monsters, mutants, and magic. This is going to be something. It's going to be a very interesting experience that will kind of like unveil itself, I guess, quarterly. So that's really good to know, and kind of good for us to be able to set our numbers. There's a lot of interesting covers for this, sort of like the main Peach Momoko. We've got an Arkham cover. Jihu Rihu, who is astounding. And Mark Brooks, which we cannot see because Marvel's not good at this. You would think they would be. And a Lionel Francis Yu cover. So fantastic. Some more Golden Age Captain America Omnibus is coming out for folks who want that classic stuff. When he's punching Nazis, Hitler specifically, right in the face on that first volume. Comics aren't political, right, folks? We're just punching Hitler right on the snoot. Way back when I don't think America was even in the war at that time. Like, come on. So we got the King in Black Captain America special. This one is being written by Danny Lore with Mark by Mirko Kolak. It's gonna be a fun one. But basically, the long and short of it is, if you're into your King in Black storyline, that's what you want. It's not really going to tie into Captain America specifically, but it's going to have that character in there. Danny Lore is a writer on the rise, in that echelon of just like testing out some stuff after doing some really good indie stuff, and going up and up and up and up and up. There's a lot of King Black stuff to be aware of, so keep an eye on that, as that's all coming down the pike. For folks who are wondering, we of course do not shell shoot threes anymore, so be aware of that kind of thing when you're thinking like, oh yeah, I got number 2, that's pretty good. I'm pretty sure I'm going to continue. Please let us know. Chances are we will be kind of aware. We kind of try and be proactive about putting things in people's files and moving forward from there. So definitely do that. King in Black, Wiccan Hulkling. Ooh, very exciting. It also has a Momoko cover. But Wiccan and Hulkling are also going to be part of the Guardians of the Galaxy starting in April. So this kind of bridges the gap between Empire, where Teddy has become essentially emperor of the Kree and the Skrulls instead of them fighting. And they're slowly getting and Wiccan, his husband, is slowly they're slowly kind of positioning themselves in a position of power in the Marvel universe, and moving forward from there. So Teenie Howard is going to be writing this one with Luciano Vecchio doing the art. It gets you some good King of Black stuff, but if you're into the Cosmic Marvel stuff, this is going to be a good prelude to the new era of Guardians of the Galaxy that's starting in April with issue 13 that we are going to treat as a first issue because it is the start of a new era, basically. That's another thing that we do is story arc starts or very important creative team shifts. It could be like an issue 20. It could be an issue, 251. We're going to shelve that because, it's about story. It's about accessibility. And if it's going to be an accessible story, we're going to try and get it in your hands if you like it. Nonstop Spider-Man, also a book that was supposed to come out last year from Joe Kelly and Chris Bacallo. Dale Eaglesham is popping in to help out. There is no description on here, but it is Joe Kelly has written a lot of Spider-Man before. He was one of the people responsible for making Deadpool such a big character. So it does like a lot of very funny books, and has a really good handle on kind of a humorous take on Spider-Man. Joe Kelly is also one of the people behind Ben 10 and all of that, and most of Marvel's animated series. He's part of the Men of Action studio group, and Nonstop Spider-Man has basically been pitched as a nonstop story. It is an action-oriented Spider-Man book. So if you want that super good superhero fights with some fun funnies, there's a lot of covers to pick from. We'll also have a die cut cover that's coming in, and I do kind of like this Scotty Young cover, but I tend to love Scotty Young covers. Very cool. Exciting for Brandon's is the third volume of Spider-Girl, the complete collection. I will preface this with like, Spider-Girl isn't necessarily some great comics, but they were great for young Brandon, who was looking to explore something of his own. It takes place in the future. This is a Spider-Man's daughter fighting some crime, and it's just some really good stuff. You've got also Star Wars High Republic #3 and a second printing of #2 coming out for folks who either missed out on #2 or are just really hyped up on the Star Wars High Republic series. This might be one of the few exceptions that we have some shelf copies just because of the ridiculous outstripped demand that we have for this series. But we have been asking everybody to add it to file if they would like. And if they don't, then they are taking chances. We are going a lot tighter. It's one of our store policies to talk to folks about the books that they're enjoying, to try and add them to the file. And shelf copies is always a huge risk for us. And a shop lives and dies basically on pulls and what people are actually going to pick up. So yeah, very, very important. All right, Dynamite's always like a quick skim for us, but mostly because I don't know, it's Dynamite. It's all good. I'm excited for the second collection of the Mark Russell series coming out right as his whole run ends. It probably gets to the end of the first half of his run, so really weird long collection span there, but they've always been more of a single issue market basically. And there's a new James Bond series coming out written by Christos Gage, who always writes some really good stuff. This is James Bond that you would find in the books, not necessarily the movies. It's a different license, so he is a lot harsher. And if it was truly based off the books, just like a garbage human being. But you can only shrug and say different times so much. The American Ronin collection. Good gravy. This book has been so good. Wars over democracy is an illusion. Real power now lies in the nation states, not in nation states, sorry, but huge corporations engaged in silent war for global domination. Their number one weapon, highly skilled, technological enhanced operatives, trained since childhood to pledge their allegiance to the corporate flag. But what happens when one such operative breaks free of his mental chains and decides to bring the whole system down? Can one Ronin make a difference? Maybe. We're going to see a gym. Hi, lady. You think it's time for some food? Yeah, usually at about 5, if we're home, the cats get a little antsy and want to be fed. Please don't step on any buttons. We want the feed to go on. Thank you. Bad Mother is another series. Come on, eat over here. Coming out from the same company that does American Ronin. When her teenage daughter goes missing under mysterious circumstances, suburban soccer mom April Walters embarks on a harrowing mission to find her. A journey that takes her through the underbelly of her suburban community and sets her on a collision course with a massive crime syndicate and its lethal matriarch. Tested to her limits and beyond, April discovers that hell hath no fury like a mother. It is basically, yes, what you see here, a suburban crime series. Chariot, also from AWA. We're just cleaning up on them, from Brian Edward Hill, who did American Carnage, one of my absolute favorite books of, I want to say, 2018. That was so good. It was American Carnage is this really black crime book about a black man who can pass as white, who needs to infiltrate a white supremacy group that is getting a lot of political gain, and about how hard that whole situation would be for somebody to pretend to hate themselves so much. Goodness, it's so good. Yes, I know. Soon. You can hang out here. Come on. Chariot. The Chariot was a Cold War era secret government project to provide its star agent with a weapon unlike any other in the form of a supercharged muscle car. It sank to the bottom of the ocean decades ago, and the agent along with it. Now, a petty criminal who's looking to reform his life has stumbled upon the Chariot, and he's about to find out that an agent's consciousness is still controlling it in this synthwave thriller. So basically kind of like super 80s style, modern day freaking Knight Rider, which, hey, you know what? Let's do that. Let's freaking do that. Simone says, read all of the original James Bond. Boy, howdy, those books are a trip. Especially when you kind of come to it with the sheen of the movies. They end up being a lot like, oh goodness, you are saying that thing right now. And again, like sort of the times that they're coming out, but yeah, it's some wild stuffs. We've got Cult of Dracula from Source Point. Special Agent Malcolm Bram arrives at the House of the Rising Sun. This secluded compound is the home of the secretive Ordo Dracula, and the scene of a horrendous crime coined the Cult of Dracula Mass Suicides. Mina Murray leads a documentary film crew to uncover the secrets of a mysterious cult by interviewing its enigmatic leader, Robert Renfield. Neither investigator is prepared for the gravity of the truths that they will uncover. So clearly pulling on some classic Dracula story elements and building something new. Dead Day is also super exciting. It's about a day where all the dead do come back to life, and one person's essentially kind of like a revenge story to kind of put a past event to rest. Really good take on like a crime tale that I really liked. Girl Splaining, original graphic novel. For fans of Kids Gloves and Waves comes a new original graphic novel from cartoonist Katya Klingel, tackling the subjects that shaped her life, from body shaming to the exploration of her female sexuality, from the representation of women in media to the social pressure on women who have not yet started a family. Going to be a good one for folks who buy stuff from the store, because this is kind of, it is really in a lot of ways our bread and butter here. Stories exploring about people and who they are, and a lot of femme-focused stuff, because quite frankly, a lot of comic stores don't do well with a lot of that. Someone is saying, yep, in terms of those original James Bond novels. I do eventually want to read all of those James Bond novels. I've read a little bit here and there. Danica said, definitely going to read this one in terms of that girl splaining one. Heck yeah. Yeah, this is definitely one of our things that we'll do. Grendel, Kentucky. This is also a good crime story, very much like Sons of Anarchy style story, with some gorgeous Tommy Lee Edwards art. He doesn't do art that often because he takes his time with it, but it's always wonderful. You can see you can kind of see the cover art there. I wish I could blow it up for you, but maybe we'll figure out how to screen share some stuff more properly. Could screen share like the whole thing, but I would just have to have the time to clean up my computer properly. So we don't let loose some business secrets. How about here, for 2 generations, the rural hill town of Grendel, Kentucky has honored its Faustian bargain with the monster living in its abandoned coal mine, a human sacrifice every season in return. Oh, sorry about that, folks. Boop. In return for agrarian prosperity, the likes of which this rocky region has never seen, including its greatest cash crop, the dankest of weed in the land. That is an actual quote from the thing. The dankest of weed in the land. Yeah, I really love this microphone. Coming this fall, Grendel, Kentucky, home of the dankest weed in the land. When one town elder breaks this pact, Grendel's only hope is that the prodigal daughter will return home to face down the creature of her nightmares and bring her all-female biker gang with her. So yeah, I guess Sons of Anarchy mixed with freaking Shirley Jackson's The Lottery. Let's do that. Zenoscope, being creepy as always. Doing some. It is kind of horror-based Grimm's Fairy Tales takes. I will admit I don't feel like they're mindful about the representation. But everyone's got some story style, so that could be for folks. We would never judge a person when they're buying their stuff or asking for stuff. That's not a thing. We can control what we shelf, and we just don't shelf Zenoscope. Full stop. Jonah and the Unstoppable Monsters, or Unpossible Monsters, this was supposed to come out about a year ago as well, and then Corona hit. I still truly believe that this is going to be a fantastic graphic novel. Chris Somney and his partner Laura are doing this all ages. I can't remember if Laura is his partner or his daughter. So yeah, don't quote me on that. But Rainbow has been searching for her sister Jonna for a year. The last time she saw Jonna was also the first time she saw one of the monsters that now roam the planet. They're big, ugly, and dangerous creatures driving humanity to the brink of extinction. Though there isn't much hope for survival out in the wild, Rainbow knows that her sister is out there somewhere, and she'll do anything to find her. So a great fun all ages series. It's great to see Chris Somney doing some more stuff. He was off the board for a while as he was working far ahead on Firepower. He's going to continue to do that because he is a machine, and this has been done for quite some time as well. So very excited for this to be out in the world with some amazing covers, including a Jen Bartel cover, which is really cool, and some incentive covers for folks. The Minions comics are back. These do extremely well for us in graphic novel. So we actually kind of stopped ordering them in single issues. But if you want sort of a larger experience, because the graphic novels are at a young adult size, I would recommend getting the single issues if you would like them. Rick and Morty is continuing to do some one shots. The Rick and Morty comics are actually one of the few cases where I would say that the where the comics just match pitch perfectly with the media that they're covering. Just as weird, just as funny, just as bizarre, just extremely well done. And they've been doing a few different series on that. Sarah and the Royal Stars was one of my favorites. It's basically like the modern She-Ra cartoon, but just more focused on kind of the more sci-fi elements instead of the more interpersonal relationships. Although that is there. I'm extremely excited and surprised to see the return of the Southland Tales prelude graphic novel. My goodness, from the writer-director of Donnie Darko. When Southland Tales came out, these also came out, and there was a collection. It is super bizarre. It's a wild story. Think basically, hey, what if the guy who did Donnie Darko did a weird movie featuring The Rock, Sean William Scott, Justin Timberlake, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Kevin Smith, and a lot more. It's a weird crime book, and you can bet your freaking butt that I am reordering this because I sold mine forever ago, and Southland Tales is a freaking bonkers to the max. I'm also, oh my god, oh my god, I didn't realize this was coming out so soon. Undone by Blood, the second volume. The first Undone by Blood is this great revenge western about a young woman who goes back to her hometown to extract revenge for something that happened to her when she was younger. And it's interspaced, I think, with this old Western tale, and the two narratives really dovetail into themselves quite nicely. This one is the sequel, the early 1930s, the height of the Great Depression and the beginning of the Dust Bowl. Silviano Luna Del Rio works for a postman in Butter, Texas, reeling from a tragic past. With only a gun and a Western novel to his name, Silviano sets out to take back from the country that took so much from him by robbing the first skyscraper in the west of the Mississippi. But the acts of retribution are never as simple as they seem, as his target is home to an eccentric fraternal brotherhood hiding their own dark secrets. So some ties to the modern series, but this is clearly like some kind of prequel that is going to have some similar elements there. The Vampire the Masquerade collection, first collection, is here. That's going to be really cool. Based off the card game, but just some really amazing vampire stories to go over. And then Young Leonardo is a humanoids book. There is pictures of this, just not on Diamond because Diamond's the worst. Meet Leonardo, curious little boy who closely examines the inner and outer workings of the world around him, gaining inspiration for the beautiful paintings and wild machines of all kinds. It's probably getting really dark in here because I didn't turn any lights on. Yeah, I am almost not visible at all. We're almost done. And there's cats happening like all over me. Little does he know that one day he'll paint some of the world's greatest masterpieces like the Mona Lisa, the Last Supper, and even spur the great period of cultural rebirth known as the Renaissance. So it's like a good young adult way to get into some Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci. All right. That appears to be all we have here because we don't tend to do this other stuff. Thank you all for watching as this whoop goes back open with me in the darkness. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the late night grooves that we have here at Variant Edition. We're gonna have a real chill time tonight, going through some music as we ride on into the darkness. Folks, thank you all for watching, and thank you all for tolerating me being a little late and everything getting really dark and me doing nothing to fix any of it. We will be seeing you next on Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. for Yeggs and Bacon. It is our pop culture and comic show where we go over the week's news. That following Tuesday at 8:10 p.m., we will be doing our regular new comics feed on Thursday at 9:10 p.m. We will be doing our what media we were into this week, including what media you were into this week. Please let us know because that's always fun, and we're always looking for recommendations for something new to watch. We picked up on a couple of things that we wanted to check out from this past one from folks' recommendations, and then next week be right back here at 3 p.m. For another Go F.O.C. yourself and go over next week's stuff. I didn't go over the DC stuff, but quite honestly, it's been a long one. And a lot of the DC stuff, what you'll need to know about is probably the Joker #1 that's coming out. Yeah, let's do this quickly. From let's share this. Let's share this. So yeah, the trade paperbacks aren't usually a huge deal because they are larger print runs to deal with. DC's Love is a Battle. No, sorry, that's a coming week. I want these F.O.Cs, baby. So the end of Green Lantern is there. I think, yeah, the Joker is the only #1 happening there. It's going to have a punchline backup. I really like the punchline story. It's been really good. We will actually have this team cover from Mark Brooks, which is a surprise. We're able to look our way into being a part of an order, and that's going to be pretty cool because it's going to be hard to find everywhere. But otherwise, you've got some graphic novels. The Superman Red, it's Red, White, and Blue story coming out. It's going to be more of an anthology series along the lines of Batman Black and White. This Poison Ivy Thorns, I'm very excited for. I will get into a bit deeper into this one because it is an original graphic novel. It's a reimagining of the DC iconic DC antihero with a gothic horror twist. There's something unusual about Pamela Isley, the girl who hides behind her bright red hair, the girl who won't let anybody see inside to see what's lurking behind the curtains, the girl who goes to extreme lengths to care for a few plants. Pamela Isley doesn't trust other people, especially men. They always want something from her, something she's not willing to give. When a cute goth girl, Alice O, comes into Pamela's life after an accident at a local park, she makes her feel like pulling back the curtains and letting sunshine in. But there are dark secrets deep inside the Isley house. Secrets Pamela's father has warned must remain hidden. Secrets that could turn deadly and destroy the one person who ever cared about Pamela, or as her mom preferred to call her, Ivy. Will Pamela open herself up to the possibilities of love, or will she be ever transformed by the thorny vines of revenge? Pretty good. And the Superman 29 is actually a start of the new era of Superman with Philip Kennedy Johnson taking over. His work on the future state stuff has been absolutely remarkable, with his take on Superman being this absolute force for what's the word I'm looking for? This amazing force for hope and for good. I really like that. And Wonder Woman, this is where Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad take over with Travis Moore doing some art. And in the backup story, Jordi Belair and Paulina Geneshow are doing some young Diana stories. So that's going to be really cool. Find out what's happening with Wonder Woman, because is she dead right now? Mild spoilers-ish. It's hard to say, and I'm not going to elaborate anymore. Is she? Is she? It's a big question. But she is definitely somewhere where she needs to fight through in some kind of Valhalla. So big energy there. Definitely check some of that stuff out. And there we are. That's going to do it for this week. Thank you all for watching, and we will talk to you again next week.